My name is Arthur Henderson. I'm Teresa's father.
Okay. What behavioral differences did you observe when your child was and wasn't medicated?
Well, when she was not medicated, she had hard times concentrating on anything for any length of time. They have a hard time sitting still. That's pretty much it.
Do you feel that your daughter's life has benefited or suffered as a result of the medications?
Both.
Can you go a little bit deeper into that?
Yeah, it benefited her in the fact that she could do better in school. It was not beneficial for probably psychological reasons.
I'm Lois Henderson.
Hi, and how do you know Teresa?
She is my daughter.
Do you feel that your daughter's life has benefited or suffered as a result of the medications?
Well, from a paper that I read that you wrote, I felt that you actually suffered a whole lot from it. But I can see that you have benefited from it because you have been able to get an education. And that was a main reason that I put you on the drug, so that you could go to school and be able to sit still in the chair and I don't want to say be normal. That's kind of a wide, I don't know, it just seems wrong to say somebody's not normal, but you could be able to sit in the chair and do work and have an education so that you could take care of yourself in life, which I think all people should be able to do.
What is ADHD? ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. It is a chronic error in the neurotransmitter process of the brain. It is a condition that affects millions of children and often persists into adulthood. ADHD includes a combination of persistent problems such as difficulty sustaining attention, hyperactivity, and impulsive behavior. While behaviors can lessen in severity over time as the afflicted ages, it is more often than not that issues persist indefinitely. Medications and therapy can be utilized to moderate or substantial rates of success. What types of medications treat ADHD? There are two main types of ADHD medication: stimulants and non-stimulants. Each type targets a different neurotransmitter, often helping enhance the release of said neurotransmitters by stimulating the receptors so they can catch more neurotransmitters. It slows down the reuptake so the neurotransmitters have more time to activate the next neuron. I myself have taken stimulants for the majority of my childhood and now into my present adulthood. The medications that I took are listed as follows: Ritalin, Vyvanse, Adderall, and finally a new drug, Adzenys. Each one of these medications have had a significant impact on my social, mental, and physical well-being. I was in second grade when I was diagnosed with ADHD. Despite my young age, school had already become nightmarish, as my unrealized behavioral deficits ostracized me from classmates and teachers. I was written off as a troubled child and considered to be little more than an inattentive nuisance. The first medication I ever tried was Ritalin, and the horrible toll it took on my digestive system quickly had me switching to Vyvanse. Though I never quite recovered socially in my fishbowl of an elementary school, my academic performance improved drastically. Vyvanse brought a hyper-focus and clarity to my mind that allowed me to conquer even the blandest of coursework. By the time I was a freshman in high school, my impulses were well managed. Though I was still figuring out my identity and personality, I easily established myself as a goal-oriented, hard-working student. But while my academic life was stable, however, my burgeoning social life gradually made me aware of the downsides of Vyvanse. Vyvanse has many negative side effects: agitation, anxiety, and insomnia, to name a few. Many of these symptoms I wound up needing to take other prescription medications to circumvent. The one side effect that disturbed me most, however, was the indeterminately lengthy periods of intense emotional numbness. In some ways, the drug-induced apathy was a blessing in disguise, as the lack of distracting emotions allowed for me to hyper-focus exclusively on my creative endeavors. The issue arose, however, when it came to social connections. For a time, I feared I was borderline sociopathic before managing to connect my symptoms to Vyvanse's side effects. Vyvanse robbed me of my ability to empathize, the ability to cry, the ability to laugh. In a vein of melodramatic poeticism, one could even argue that Vyvanse robbed me of my humanity. It certainly felt that way to me when I was a developing teenager. To avoid standing out, I became a method actor. My face a stiff, calculating mask, I consciously emoted to feign emotion. To try and remedy this issue, I began to take breaks from the drug, only using it when necessary. These efforts backfired, however, unfortunately, and they only gave rise to an even worse issue: identity crisis. On Vyvanse, the only thing that seemed to hold me back was the hours in a day and my need for sleep. I was thin due to my suppressed appetite, which kept me from binge eating. I could near effortlessly labor for long hours and multitask with the best of them. High-quality, imaginative work was the daily standard. Off Vyvanse, I lacked the motivation to even pick up my pen to draw a single line. It felt as if my personality was split. On one side was this quiet, goal-oriented girl who could do anything but feel. On the other was a very human, very tired social butterfly who struggled to achieve the simplest of tasks, but truly cared for those around her. I began attributing much of my achievements to the souped-up, medicated me. My confidence suffered blows, and anxiety made me fear that I was nothing without my medications. It wasn't until I was a sophomore in college that I finally began to reconcile my situation. Though it seems obvious in hindsight, it's sometimes all too easy to forget in the face of more severe mental disorders that ADHD is a real mental illness. It's a result of chemical imbalances in the brain caused by a malfunctioning neurotransmitter that either doesn't release enough chemicals, releases them too early, or releases far too much. And it's a result that psychoactive medications like Ritalin, Vyvanse, and Adderall were created to correct. In my case, no amount of therapy alone was going to help me overcome my ADHD. Furthermore, I had to learn that my medications were not a crutch that overrode my achievements. It was a solution that simply took the right medication to become the right fit for me. I have since switched to a different prescription, which has benefited my emotional health significantly, and has allowed me to drop many of the other medications I took to help remedy the side effects of the previous. As a final disclaimer, this video is entirely my own personal experiences and opinions regarding the medications. Despite my negative experiences, I still fully support those who choose to use Vyvanse just as much as those who choose to remedy it some other way through holistic efforts or through therapy. Personally, I would say that were I able to go back and do it all over again, I would still choose BP, just to have the proper support system to help me understand what I was feeling and find the right medications for me. Thank you all for listening.